The Gable Channel offers several positive advantages. It securely anchors the shingle as the shingle comes and bends down into the channel. Secondly, it avoids the entrapment of debris. There's no place for leaves or twigs or anything to get stuck. And finally, it's going to highlight the tapered profile of the shingle. As you look at the Gable Channel from the side, you're going to be able to see the shingle and the taper that's built into it. Now, the first thing that I want to do when I install the Gable Channel actually can be done on the ground. If I know the pitch of my roof, I can simply use a pitch finder and I can take my sliding T-bevel and I can adjust it for the particular pitch, which in this case is a 5/12. So I've adjusted my sliding T-bevel to the 5/12 pitch, and on the ground I'm going to be able to come to the bottom edge of the piece. I'm going to mark a line here. Just going to represent that 5/12 pitch. I'm going to come back about a half an inch. I want there to be a portion of this water return channel that sticks out past the butt of the shingle. I'm going to mark a line straight over. And you get style points if you round your corners. So now as we come to this bottom edge down here, you can see now that the cut is going to be plumb. I'm going to make sure that this water return channel comes out at half an inch past the edge of the drip edge. One thing that's very, very helpful to do is before you ever install the Gable Channel is simply to overbend it the length of the channel, and that will help it to hug the gable. If you're particularly concerned about wind uplift, which normally shouldn't be a problem with the bent over shingles tucked down into the channel, holding the channel down. But if you want a little extra insurance, then you can take some trim nails, maybe every 6 foot or so, and maybe nail through the face into the gable, and then use some touch-up paint. Right now I'm going to put a nail right at the very top here, up at the peak. Once I'm sure that my bottom edge of the Gable Channel is where it needs to be, a half an inch past the drip edge, I can come up here and just temporarily tack that in place so it's not going to move on me. And then I'm going to mark my plumb line. And again, I wouldn't even have to do this facing the gable. I could simply, from the roof, mark that point right there, and as long as I've got my T-bevel set to that 5/12 pitch, and I've got this point marked, then I can come down and I can mark where that plumb line is. I'm going to come about a half an inch then past the plumb line. And I'm going to run my first piece of Gable Channel long, and that is past the plumb line. I'm going to come up at an angle there. I'm going to angle up here, and I want to leave maybe about 2 inches past the ridge line. I'm going to cut that about right there, and I'm going to fold that piece over the ridge and nail onto that. At this point, I need to cut that at an angle right to the plumb line. I want to cut from the plumb line down here at an angle as well. Cut that at about the same angle. I'm just going to trim this off because I really don't need or want that to hang down like that. Then I'm going to have to flip it over, and I'm going to have to do a taper cut right back here in order for the piece to fit in from the other side. And then I'm going to open that up just a little. One last thing I need to do is to go straight over from this and make a relief cut. Then I'll be able to bend that over, and I'm also going to open these two hems up so that the piece from the other side can nest inside of that. Now I can go ahead and put this back up on the deck. Notice that we've got that right on the plumb line there. And I'm going to put one nail close to the ridge there. Okay, at this point we want to simulate a situation in which the gable length is longer than the length of an individual lineal. With the castle and iron system, the gable lineals are 10 foot long. As you can see, I've got one piece presently in place. I've done my plumb cut at the bottom end. It's off a half an inch beyond the drip edge. Notice I put one nail at the top, the very top, because I'm going to lap over that so it will be concealed. Now, I need to cover the remaining distance. And again, if I know my gable length, I can cut all my pieces on the ground before I ever go up onto the roof. If I know the gable length and if I know the pitch of the roof. So I've again put this in place, and now I can measure this distance here, and I've got 28 inches. I'm going to add 3 inches for overlap down here. And so I'm going to go 31 inches. And that's going to represent the point at the peak. It's the 28 plus 3 inches of overlap. And then I'm going to go about 2 more inches past the peak for a fold over. Again, I've got my sliding T-bevel still set for a 5/12 pitch. There's going to be my plumb cut. These flanges, again, I'll open up so that these will nest inside. That'll represent my ridge line. Also, what I need to do on the bottom piece here is to open up this hem. And I'm going to do a taper cut, about maybe 2.5 inches there. And open up this bottom hem. So now I'm going to nest this inside of here. I want to make sure that this gable channel slides down inside of this channel, and this bottom hem I'm going to wrap around this taper. So now I can go ahead and slide the piece down. One nail again on the lap over the ridge. And I'm going to wrap those around, wrap this around, and I'm going to make a note to apply at least one clip here where these two pieces overlap. Not a bad idea to run a bead of sealant underneath here and over that nail head. And then I'm going to pinch that down below, and we should be ready to put shingles on.